DFW with your hosts, Robbie and Tracy Mitchell.
So we're going to the tune-up, the Manly Salon, Southlake, Texas.
You need a shave, you need a pedicure, you need a haircut. And I found this place because I know you're tired of going to salons with me where all the chicks go. So this is for men only and manly men.
Yeah, I pay for all your tune-ups all the time, so you're paying for mine.
Hey, y'all. Hey, we brought the guys in like we said.
Ready for a tune-up?
They need to be cleaned up, girls.
Do y'all tune up broken legs also?
Do you guys want anything to drink while you're here?
Can we play shuffleboard?
Definitely.
Okay, Jerry. You know what it says, respect your elders? But I'm going to beat you at this. Now, we're used to real sports in Texas. Football, basketball, track and field. We're going to do some shuffle. All right. Elders first. Go ahead. You're the brown. Go ahead. You know how to do it. Get you some points. That's great. That's a great shot right there. Now, watch this. Never done this before. Watch this. Watch that. Look at there. Watch, watch, watch. Whoa. Yeah. You're next. Think you'll knock that off?
Yes.
I'm ready, I guess. Okay, I'm following you.
Do you think this size is for you?
This will work. Are you ready? Behind me?
So when you get 85, you got to do what
You know, what our wives put us up to. Hey, what's the orange slices in the water for?
It's like for small scale, you relax with this kind of lemon.
Oh yeah, let me have one of those. I love lemon. Is that lemon or orange?
This is orange. We have lemon and orange.
Oh.
Your cave. Wait, no, you look like an old man with a shawl.
Is this a tune-up or I kind of feel like a pimp? It's Manly Man tune-up. Ooh.
Hey, do they have two lids like this? Hey, do you have another lid like this? That'd be awesome, man. Another one, Manly Man.
Is that you?
I don't know.
Is that my husband?
Look, I love this. Shoot bucks, avoid does.
Okay, this is so up your alley, Tracy. This is so you right here.
Shoot bucks.
Go, go, get them, girl, get them, girl.
This game's out of order.
But it said shoot bucks, avoid does.
Yeah.
You might want to at least put your glasses on, maybe you can see something.
Go ahead.
Okay, I came up with a great tune-up game.
Okay. Okay.
One of those?
All right, go.
All right, you have to look the other way.
Go. You know, I look. You just do it when I look. I
Why?
can find it. I can tell you which one.
No, you can't.
It's right there because it came out of the cup.
How did you like your tune-up?
It's amazing what husbands do for wives.
Let me see your feet. No, I didn't mean that close.
Yeah. Looks good.
They look better than what they did.
Huh?
But it's okay to get a tune-up every now and then,
That's what we tell people. Everybody's got to have a tune-up.
especially with their attitude.
Attitude, body, soul, spirit, we all need it.
Yes. So what's been your big tune-up lately?
Just tuning up to stay fresh. Keep my spirit fresh.
You don't wake up fresh every day, I can promise you that.
Yeah.
My brain doesn't wake up till 10 o'clock and neither does my personality.
Well, everybody needs one. So it's just getting people to do it. Taking care of themselves.
Yeah.
Body, soul, and spirit.
Yeah. Attitude can change the dynamics of everything. I have one employee, man, I love her when she's in her good moments. But man, when she's not, I mean, every other day I just want to fire that crazy girl because it's her attitude.
Well, everybody thinks that everybody else needs a tune-up except them.
For sure.
So getting the scales to fall off people's eyes and getting them to see themselves like
Yes.
they really are
Yeah.
is really what it's all about.
Well, you've been on crutches for 4 months, right? You were in an accident.
Right.
And that first month especially, when we had you in a wheelchair and we're trying to cope with life, I know that if we're honest, our attitudes weren't always great every day. We had to adjust and adjust quick, and I had to learn how to be a caretaker, and you had to learn some patience.
It's the ultimate success in life.
Yeah.
Is not just, as people think, to become wealthy.
Yeah.
But what is it? It's to keep your attitude adjusted.
Yeah.
It's to keep that tune-up on your attitude.
Yeah.
And the things in life that need to be, again, refreshed.
Yes.
And your marriage, why are so many marriages falling apart? Because they don't tune them up. You know, they think once they start, everything's just going to flow and be okay, and it isn't.
Yeah.
You've got to tune up things.
We work hard on our date nights, right? We have more fun than anybody I know.
Right.
But
Right.
our marriage is great because we work at it.
Right. Well, I'm over half a century old, and I've never owned a vehicle out of the 30-something vehicles I probably had that didn't have to have a tune-up. I've never driven a boat that didn't have to have a tune-up.
Okay,
Everything in life has to have a tune-up.
We won't talk about the car that I didn't change the oil in, right?
We won't talk about that you went 48,000 miles. That was before I came into the picture.
Oops.
Because I'm heavy on the tune-ups, okay?
But I had to replace a whole transmission. It would have been a $35 oil change. And I spent about $4,700 because I neglected to do one maintenance procedure.
I won't tell people watching that you went 48,000 miles on a car. Not 4,800, 48,000 miles
I didn't
without
know.
changing your oil.
I genuinely didn't know.
As a teenager. And
No one told me.
You didn't have somebody looking over you to
That's true.
get you a tune-up.
That's true.
Well-
So, I know. Well, like when you were on those crutches in that wheelchair, I remember you said a few things, a little gruff, a little abrasive.
Yeah, a little bit.
And I wanted to take that wheelchair and dump you out, but instead I took a step back and we both worked on our attitudes, right?
Right.
Yeah, I know.
So it was fun today. I feel refreshed.
You look awesome.
Now, thank you. You
Yeah.
too. Now it's time
Scruffy.
for us to go ahead and do what we're going to do
Hey, I'm next. I get my petty Manny next door, right?
every week.
All right.
All right.
A harsh reality of life is that it's not always enjoyable. Everyone has experienced rejection, whether in the form of harsh words, unreciprocated love, loss, or betrayal. Most people perceive rejection as a negative occurrence, when in reality, rejection can be one of the most powerful tools in life. Downside Up offers wisdom, guidance, and personal application while also outlining and establishing key biblical principles that promote emotional and mental wellness. Readers will understand the importance of developing a positive and God-designed self-portrait, identify their life's purpose, and maximize their potential for success. Discover the value of godly mentors and other positive relationships, and overcome negative thoughts, fear, and lack of self-confidence. Rejection is not about experiencing loss. It is an asset for fulfilling your dreams. Downside Up by Tracy Mitchell.
Now, what would you do if you have a knock in your door and a detective will come and say, "We found your husband's car. My husband had been missing for 30 days. He was suffering from a chemical imbalance called serotonin deficiency that caused severe depression." So I said, "Well, where is he? Where's the car?" They said they found it in Oklahoma and we live in Texas. So the next day we went to Oklahoma, tried to find my husband. And then while we were there, we heard this gunshot at 12 noon, and I knew in my heart that was a signal. So I told my pastor, I said, "That's a signal." And he said, "What signal?" I said, "Let's go to where that shot was fired." So we went there, and then I heard this policeman running from the hills of Atoka, Oklahoma, saying, "I found him, I found him. I found a body, and I think that's him." That moment changed my life. I felt like the whole world came to my shoulder. It was a heavy, heavy weight. And then we went there, and then I saw across 100 feet from me was the dead body of my husband. And God put a creek in between so I could not get near him. My husband committed suicide. He shot himself. And that was a life-changing experience for me. But I knew that God had a purpose. For 30 days that my husband was missing, I would read the Bible, and Psalms would come to life. Psalms 30 verse 5 said, "Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning." That's the verse that carried me. And then 3 months later, I had a car accident. I could not walk for 2 months. And later on, when I started walking, I was baking a cake. And then 30 feet from me, my next door neighbor shot his heart. He committed suicide. That's when I got mad at God. I said, "Lord, why did you allow this to happen?" Well, that night, God gave me a dream. In my dream, I was knocking at my neighbor's doors, telling them about Jesus. So the next day, I woke up, I chose joy. I decided to choose joy. So I said, "Lord, what can I do for you?" Never ask God, what can you do for him if you're not prepared? Because 3 weeks later, God answered. He took me under the bridge in downtown Dallas, showed me the homeless living under the cardboard boxes. And he said, "You go under the bridge and help the homeless." And I said, "No, not me. Those are crazy, violent people. They're going to kill me." Because when I was growing up in the Philippines, my mother used to feed the homeless in our kitchen, and I hated it. They ate my food, they occupied my space. And one homeless woman slapped me in the marketplace when I was 10 years old. So I grew up not liking any homeless people, not knowing that one day God would call me to this ministry. So when I said, "No, not me," God said, "You were the one who asked me, what can you do for me?" So right there and then I repented. I said, "God, forgive me. I will go. What could I take to these people?" And the Lord said in my heart, "Blankets." The next day, I went to Baylor Hospital where I was a nurse supervisor. I asked all doctors and nurses for $5 so I could buy blankets. So in Thanksgiving, a Sunday before Thanksgiving, we were able to gather 100 blankets. This is just a month after God called me to a ministry. It was an unconditional obedience. And then out of the ministry now, we are now in 11 countries. And what we do in the streets of Dallas, we share Christ in the streets, and then we hold the largest birthday party for Jesus, where the homeless are the guests and the poor children and their families. And the homeless would receive haircuts, makeover, food, sleeping bags, blankets. And the heart of the ministry is evangelism one-on-one. The trademark is foot washing. That's what we do. A Saturday before Christmas, give the homeless the large birthday party for Jesus where they are the guests. So that's what God have called me to do. So now we're in 11 countries, and we have built schools in Africa and also in Cambodia, medical clinic in Cambodia, another school near Thailand, and also partnering with Israel for the children, helping the children in Israel. So that's what God has done in my life because I choose to serve God. And mind you, I didn't care for what God called me to do. I could not stand the homeless. So beware. When you ask God, what can you do for God? Make sure you are prepared because He would take you out of your comfort zone. And that's what He did for me. He took me out of my comfort zone. And now God has taken me in 11 countries, helping 28,000 children and 140,000 homeless and poor in Dallas, Texas. It is a choice. So choose to serve God. Choose joy instead of sorrow. God is going to take you to a much amazing blessing. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. We are so excited to have our dear friend, Susie Jennings. She's right there in South Dallas over in Mesquite. And Susie, you and I have known each other for a long time, a lot of years. And I know you're heavily involved in so many different facets of outreach. And one of my favorites is Operation Care. I mean, I love it. You throw a big birthday party, right, for Jesus every year. Tell us what that's like for those who've never heard of Operation Care.
Well, Operation Care is a street ministry born out of sorrow and grief. It is for the homeless and the poor, not only in Dallas, but in different parts of the world. And it was created because of a severe tragedy that happened to my life when my husband of 9 years committed suicide. And 5 months later, a neighbor shot himself 30 feet from me while I was baking a cake. And that,
So he was, 30 feet from you?
Yes.
Wow.
And that's when I questioned God, why. And He gave me a dream. In my dream, I was knocking at my neighbor's doors, telling them about Jesus. And then the next day, I just decided to choose joy because the Bible said, weeping may endure for a night, joy comes in the morning.
Wow.
So I asked God, Lord, what can I do to serve you. And then he led me under the bridge in downtown Dallas. So he told me to go under the bridge with those homeless living in cardboard boxes. And he told me, he said, go under the bridge and help them. I said, no, not me. Those are crazy and lunatics. I'm not going. And then the voice in my heart said, you were the one who asked me.
Wow,
What
so we
can
have
you
to
do for
be
me?
careful when we ask Jesus, what can we do
Do not
for him?
ask God unless you are prepared.
Amen. Good word.
Well, how do you minister to the homeless and impoverished?
Well, we go under the bridges and provide for the physical and spiritual needs. But the biggest thing, the trademark of the ministry, the signature event that we do is a big birthday party for Jesus, where the guests are the homeless and the poor. And so every Saturday before Christmas, we hold this big party at the convention center. And so we started it in 2004. Now this is our 14th year. Last year we have 18,000 that came to convention center. And we feed the homeless, and the trademark is we do foot washing.
Foot washing,
Yes.
18,000.
Well, we wash as much feet as we can, and we emulate.
Well, that's 36,000 feet, right?
We emulate Christ, and so that's the values of Operation Care: servanthood, compassion, and integrity.
So how many countries, okay, not to get ahead, but here, I know some of the secret things that you have planned. And there's something significant about the year 2020. Now, what is that about?
Well, God gave us a vision that by December 19, 2020, this birthday party for Jesus will be in 50 states and 20 countries, and that they will follow what we do is to serve the poor and the homeless. And number one, the heart of the ministry is evangelism. So we will share Jesus one-on-one to the people that will be coming from the city, all over the city. We bus the homeless from Dallas and also Denton and Fort Worth. We bus them and take them to the convention center and share Jesus.
Now, how many volunteers does Operation Care involve? Because I know a lot of our friends volunteer. They're connected with this event. Last year, about how many volunteers did you have?
3,500 volunteers coming from 300 churches and also companies and organizations.
And that's like the third week of December.
Yes.
And then you not only do foot washing, but they receive what? What do you give away?
Well, the first thing we do is to share Christ, and then we take them to foot washing area. They get shoes and socks, and then sleeping bags, blankets, coats, and then they go to area with makeover, and then haircuts, and then they go to the food area, and then there's an entertainment and praise and worship for 6 hours, and then they go to medical area. We get flu shots, and then we have eyeglasses. So we have machines for eyeglasses, and also we have dentists. And the best part is the Operation Call Home, wherein they could go to that area, call their families, and if they get reconnected with their families, we take them to the bus, Greyhound, and pay $200 per homeless to go home. So we connect them to their families so they will not be homeless anymore.
So I know you told us a story last year about someone that connected, and I'm just going to kind of recap what you said. So let me make clear that I understand. You do dental, you do hair, you put shoes on their feet, you give them a sleeping bag to sleep in, you clothe them, you wash their feet, they have entertainment. And I've seen some of that entertainment line up, and it's festive, it's enjoyable. You take up the whole convention center. But I also know that after they receive the word and people have loved them and hugged them, cried over them, ministered to them, that each year you see, I don't know how many, but lots of them who reconnect with their families for the first time, if not days, if not decades. Tell us one story, if you can remember one in particular that stood out in your mind.
Well, I have a homeless lady that called me after the event, and she said, Susie, could you please send me home with my children? She got 2-year-old, 7 and 9-year-old. They live under the bridge, and then she would tie her children in her waistline at night. And then I said, okay, where's your family? She said, in New York. So I connected with the family, but I asked her, I said, okay, what do you do with the food? She said, well, I would steal food from a grocery store in the morning. I said, how about the money? She said, I sell myself so I could have money. And that made me I was so touched, I cried. I said, we will send you home. So we connected with her family, and we asked the family if they could help make sure she will have housing and then find a job. So we followed up. We sent this family home, 4 children, 3 children with her, so there were 4 of them. And then we sent them home to New York, and we followed up, and now she is in an apartment, and then the children are in school.
I can imagine tying your children to your waist so they can't leave or be stolen.
Something else. I want to tell us about your book called 31 Days of Mountaintop Miracles.
Well, it's a book about miracles that happened to me in Israel, India, Africa, Philippines, Dallas. God has taken me in different countries. The book is about unconditional obedience. Unconditional obedience unleash the blessings of Joy. It blesses Jesus, it blesses others, it blesses you. So if you obey God unconditionally, it will bless, the name of God and then others, and it blesses you. So there are all stories of miracles, 31 stories that happened to me around the world that God have used because of unconditional obedience. And 3 things that God did in my life is that He called me to help the homeless, which I didn't like, but I have to obey because I know it was God. Sure. Number 2 is He told me to become homeless. So I live in the streets of Dallas as a homeless person.
What?
How long is this? How long did you do that?
Oh, it's only for God told me, you live with the homeless for a day. It was specific. So I live in the streets of Dallas, and next to me was a homeless that was high on drugs. I was scared to death that I never slept the whole night because she was pacing, and I was scared that she would stab me, she would kill me, and then she would ask people to rape me. It was the scariest moment, but it opened my eyes to the plight of the homeless. And then the third one that God called me, that I obeyed unconditionally, was He said, leave your 6-figure income and become a missionary with nothing. So these 3 things, unconditional obedience, that's what God, and then so this book was written, it's all about unconditional obedience. And out of that, I left my job as a nurse supervisor at Baylor Hospital, being a nurse 33 years. Jesus was 33 when He went to heaven, so God opened another chapter in my life. So now God took me to 11 countries. We have a school in Africa and medical clinic in Cambodia, and then another school being built near Thailand, and then partnership with Israel for children's educational building.
When she said there's 31 mountaintop miracles, see, I have such a privilege for me to know Susie because I watch miracles happen every time I'm in her presence. I remember we were in Nashville, Tennessee, I don't remember, 5 or 6 years ago, and she came up to me and just randomly said, I'm supposed to be at the United Nations and speak to the Women's Council or Women's Day. And I just kind of chuckled. This is before I really knew Susie.
Told me, I remember.
And I said, well, how are you going to get there? I don't know. Where are you getting the money? I don't know. How are they going to let you in? I don't know. But God said, God said, God said. So I get a call about 2 or 3 weeks later. Oh, just wanted to let you know that I just spoke, not just attended. I spoke at the United Nations. So Susie, I have watched miracle after miracle in your life. And I know that it's you take no credit for those miracles that God does. Tell us one specific miracle that's your favorite in 31 Days of Mountain Miracles.
Well, when we were in Africa, the title of our event is Feeding the 5,000. So we have 5,000 pre-registered children that will receive backpacks, t-shirts, shoes, socks, school supplies, food, Bibles. So we have 5,000, but there were 45,000 children in Kibera slums in Kenya, Nairobi. We didn't have enough goods. So I just asked God, Lord, the children are still crying. There's not enough goods. We were on the way out because we finished giving the 5,000 gift. We were on the way out, going to our car, and then the pastor was running after me because I prayed, God, you need to do something. The children are still crying. He said, Susie, I have a problem. I said, what's the problem? He said, the goods that were delivered this morning, backpacks, t-shirts, shoes, at the back of the school, this is our final, remember this is our final day. He said it did not diminish. It's still at the back, and there's another 1,000. And the title of the event was Feeding the 5,000. So God gave us another 1,000 backpacks out of the blue. It appeared. It's amazing.
Just like the loaves and fish.
Yes, the 2 fish and 5 loaves. So it's really the 5,000 backpacks. There were another 1,000 that appeared. So the pastor said, what do we do with it? I said, give it to the children crying, the children with AIDS that have been online for 2 days, wanting to have something, but their name was not in the list because they were not pre-registered. So it's the same thing. If your name is not in the book of life, you could not get in.
Right.
So, but God is merciful. So I asked God, Lord, do something, and He did. He did a miracle. So another 1,000 of backpacks appeared out of nowhere.
I could talk to you for days, Susie. In 30 seconds, tell us what is next. I mean, you have, I know, 5 or 10 things right in the fire right now. What's key? What's next for you?
Well, next will be the Vision 2020, wherein Jesus' birthday will happen the same date, same time, all over 50 states and 20 countries. December 19, 2020, it will culminate, the birthday party will culminate with a crusade all over the world. And then millions will be saved. So the hashtags will be Millions for Christ in one day. Could you imagine celebrating Jesus' birthday, wherein the world will be Jesus will be celebrated and the world will celebrate, wherein Jesus will be the key figure in one day.
And how can they connect with you, Susie?
It will be, we will put it on our website, opcare.org, and then they could connect with us. They will be vetted. They need to also attend a seminar here this year. We're inviting different cities to come, and then we will train them how to do the event in their cities.
Wow.
So we're going to train them. So by 2020, 50 states and different countries will be a part of this. We are now in 11 countries already.
I know those watching today or joining this conversation would definitely want just a small measure of the faith that God has given you. Could you just take about 30 seconds and speak to that person today who's needing a miracle?
Yes, there's this saying, a physician was saying that the best thing that the humans need is love. And then another person said, how about if it doesn't work? And then he mentioned, increase the dose. So it's the bottom line of all of this is the love of Christ that he gave to us. For me to even serve the homeless that I didn't care for, because when I was growing up in the Philippines, my mother used to feed them and I hated it. They ate my food, they occupied my space. The homeless did that. So I grew up not liking them, not knowing that God is training me in my mother's kitchen. So now I came full circle. So if God calls you to do something, obey unconditionally. Amen. That's the bottom line. Obey him unconditionally, and he will take you to a place you will never even imagine. Now 28,000 children were helped, 140,000 homeless and poor in Dallas, and we're building schools and helping the impoverished. And also we will build a school in Dallas just for the impoverished women and the homeless children, so they could be contributing members of society, and we could give them hope through Jesus Christ. That's the bottom line. Jesus is the answer.
Amen. Wow, Susie, thank you so much for being here today. I know you want to follow up, learn more about what Susie Jennings is doing. Be sure to check her out online, and we look forward to seeing you all again real soon. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Downside Up offers wisdom, guidance, and personal application while also outlining and establishing key biblical principles that promote emotional and mental wellness. Readers will understand the importance of developing a positive and God-designed self-portrait, identify their life's purpose, and maximize their potential for success. Discover the value of godly mentors and other positive relationships, and overcome negative thoughts, fear, and lack of self-confidence. Rejection is not about experiencing loss. It is an asset for fulfilling your dreams. Downside Up by Tracy Mitchell.